My name's Tipper. I work here at US Cloud, and I'm joined by Mike Jones, our VP of Product Development. Mike, say hello to the people.
Hey everyone, glad to be here. Thanks, Tipper.
We've got about 10 slides today and 5 key secrets before giving you a quick overview about the company. So let's hop right into secret number one. Mike, I have heard from our friends at Infotech that more and more Microsoft is basically trying to combine discussion about enterprise agreement and unified contract into the same window. Do these things need to go together?
No, actually, that's a common misconception. So having those negotiations separate with those entities actually will benefit you more in the long run.
Nice, good. That's a strong insight. Let's take a look at secret number two here. With the shift over from Premier to Unified, the claim is that the service is unlimited. Is that truly the case?
Not in the least. With Unified, when you start to look at the things that are involved in your quote or contract, you start to see that all of these add-ons and additional features that are really should be part of the core service are not. Things like Azure Rapid Response is an add-on and you have to purchase those credits on top of that DSE offering. And don't forget your TM fee is a 30% upcharge on your contract as well. So when we talk about unlimited, it's more about unlimited number of cases that you can submit within there, not the services itself. But everything comes into that core bucket with US Cloud, and that's one of our differentiators with our clients.
And this next one talks kind of about what the impact has been with that move from Premier over to Unified. I've heard a lot personally about the length of time that tickets are now taking. Can you maybe give us an overview from a macro level view of what the impact has been on their business when they've made this switch?
So there's a couple of different things to note when it comes to the overall quality of support within Microsoft's ecosystem today. One, the COVID era really shattered their entire operations as far as support capabilities go. Now that we're kind of post-COVID getting through that, thank goodness, we're starting to look at still dropping levels of quality. And a lot of it comes down to body count and head count. They just don't have the resources that customers are expecting. So what we end up seeing is longer initial response times from Microsoft. You see ultimately longer engagement times, and then ultimately ticket resolution or TTRs is greatly impacted customers not being able to get the right level of individual to help them solve their issues.
In this next slide here, maybe give us a topical overview of, how bad it has gotten from a response time or engagement time.
What we end up seeing is since 2021, three main categories of impact to the service, which overall leads to a really bad experience. Once I submit a case, how long does it take for someone to do that initial callback to me to assess or triage the issue? What we're seeing is that on average, we are 25% faster than Microsoft across all of their technologies and criticalities. So US Cloud does a 1 through 4, 1 being the highest, 4 being the lowest severity. Microsoft, of course, does A, B, and C. So this is cataloging and really showing you on critical issues, what is my wait time to get someone? Then what is my wait time to get someone engaged to even start troubleshooting my issue? And then that leads to the third slide, which is more about resolution, or what we call TTR, or time to resolution. And what you can see by different severity levels is we're seeing a steep incline from Microsoft on average hours, whereas we're seeing a significant decrease in our TTR because of our high skill level resources and ability to engage faster and ultimately solve the problem.
Yeah, looking at these three charts, I can really feel the frustration, which we need to figure out a way to quantify what the level of frustration increase is with these tickets just sitting and not getting addressed. This next secret that we have, I think, kind of speaks again to the people that are involved in the process. It seems like this is probably an outgrowth again from what you were talking about. Can you give me an idea of the key difference between a CSAM and a TAM?
A few years ago, Microsoft made a decision to start converting or adjusting their support teams from an account management perspective. So historically, Microsoft TAMs were always kind of your portal into the Microsoft service itself. What they ended up starting to do was shift their model once they had a big initiative to really up their cloud selling and get people to adopt their cloud adoption strategy. They started to change the model over to what's called a CSAM. And a CSAM is essentially a customer success account manager. We believe at US Cloud that a TAM model is important not only to the relationship with the client, but also the ability to escalate to someone that has a technical background and understands the service delivery model that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, I've heard from a lot of customers who talk about how maddening it is for them to go into their monthly Microsoft call to get an update on their tickets, and the call just turns into a sales opportunity.
Yeah.
Such seems like such a waste of time when they really just need to get an update on where their tickets are. Let's go to our final secret here, which is secret number 5. So I think that some of the shade that Microsoft kind of throws at third parties now who are delivering this support like us is, there's no path to outsource. But from my understanding, it sounds like Microsoft is already outsourcing tickets within their process. Talk a little bit about how Microsoft is doing this, Mike.
Yeah, well, I would say upwards of over 90% of Microsoft's total MCS or unified support organization is outsourced currently today. And whether customers probably know that some of it is, I mean, it's just the nature of the beast in working with Microsoft in the past. They're usually really shocked and stunned at really the amount and the level of outsource. So most of Microsoft support is going to a third party today and it's offshore. So there are data security concerns. So when I go to an L1 and the L1 does the triage or intake and they assign me essentially an L2 to start working on my problem, doing basic troubleshooting, I'll then have to start over with the L2. And then, if by some unforeseen reason they need to escalate or they need to move it over to another team, I have to restart over and over and over. And it's just rinse, repeat. So there is a lot of starting over as far as access of data and redoing logs and in file inputs and things like that to the support individuals. What we always tell customers is, don't take our word for it. When you're working with Microsoft, look at the email as we kind of show here. If you see a V dash in front of their email, they are not a Microsoft employee. Your data never leaves the US. So we always follow the government level security protocols that we have in place to really make sure that customers' data is secure.
That's a nice segue over to, giving a 30,000 foot view about US Cloud. Besides the domestic based service, talk a little bit about, what differentiates us from the competition, Mike.
Yeah, we're hyper focused on Microsoft enterprise support. This is our only game. We don't have any other lines of business. This is all we're doing today. Again, to talk about our initial responses, one of the value adds to our product is we have a 15-minute financially backed SLA 24/7, 365 for all severities. We have level 2 through 4 engineering support divisions. We have proactive services capabilities and project-based services. You have that dedicated account teams with your TAMs as well. We do managed Microsoft escalations with our partner network. We resolve around 85 to 88% of all of our incidents. We only need to engage Microsoft typically between 10 and 15% of all cases. So we're filtering that, as we talked about earlier, that really bad experience and replacing it with a more faster, responsive, engaged experience in resolving well upwards of 8 out of 10 cases that that customers bring to us from a Microsoft technology standpoint.
Great. Thanks for that overview. Talk a little bit about the savings. And then I also don't want to miss this note here on the bottom left. I really love this.
Yeah, and what we tell people is we'd love to have your business, and of course we're going to continue to strive for that and get your business because we think we have a quality product out there. But a lot of people, what they don't realize is you're going up against Microsoft with no extra cards in your hand. You're playing a 5 card poker game with 1 card in your hand, and you need more cards in there to either bluff or just, you know, give yourself a better present to the OEM. What we tell customers is there is no harm whatsoever by doing a competitive quote and coming to us for a quote. And some customers, again, they'll use it for, pricing negotiation.
That's great. Thanks, Mike. Okay, last slide here. Just want to show, as Mike mentioned, we've been in the business now for several years. We have acquired some pretty big companies, some pretty big Fortune 100 companies. You can see down there the logo sheet. And then we have some happy customers as well. We have several case studies on our website that kind of speak to what the customer experience has been for, some pretty big companies. So please head over to uscloud.com to check those out if you do have some free time. And like we mentioned at the very beginning of the webinar, if you do have questions, please shoot us an email at questions@uscloud.com. Thanks again, everyone, for your time. For more about US Cloud, uscloud.com. Thank you.